welcome back to my Texas Zone 8A garden, and today we're inside. This is supposed to be the last hot day, fingers crossed, and so I'm still recovering from sickness, so I'm inside potting up a ton of my seedlings that are all grown up, and we're going to be potting up some brand new iris rhizomes. Okay, so I've still been recovering from being sick. It's been rough. My body's just exhausted. And I am feeling a ton better, but definitely not ready to go out in 95-degree heat. So right now I have a whole bunch of seedlings, specifically a whole bunch of my violas and pansies that I started earlier in the summer. And they are ready to be potted up into larger containers, which I'm really, really excited about. So let's go ahead and talk about the containers, what we're looking for on potting up, and how I go about the process. So typically I reuse a lot of just 3-inch and 4-inch containers that I get from bedding plants when I'm putting them in my garden. However, I've been sharing a lot of seedlings with my friend Kristen, and I just don't have as many containers. So I ended up purchasing some on Amazon, and I'll drop that link below. And basically these are just some nice 4-inch containers. I went for 4-inch instead of 3-inch. They're a little bit larger. They're pretty heavy, sturdy. These are not disposable. So these are ones that I can utilize for a long time within my whole cycle of seedlings. And then I'm just using a basic potting soil, nothing fancy, nothing crazy, just something light and airy. And I basically go ahead and fill my pots up about 3/4 of the way, 2/3 to 3/4 of the way. Very simple like that, no big deal. So let me do that real quick. Now you might notice I'm not adding any type of fertilizer. For brand new seedlings that I'm potting up, I typically will utilize a liquid Alaskan fish fertilizer for these, and so I don't need to add any to this particular soil. Okay, so I have lots of viola and pansy seedlings that are just doing beautifully. This one in particular right here is a super beacon field, and in here is 12 little seedling cells. And these are recently watered. You definitely want, when you're planting a lot of your seed cells, you want them really well watered. And so at this point, all I'm going to do is I'm going to pull out one at a time and put them in their new containers. Let me show you a close-up of that. So these seed containers are the ones that I'm kind of obsessed with from Amazon now. I like the cost, I like how well they're holding up. And basically you just use this little spatula to kind of come in here on the side and pull out your seedling. You definitely want your seedling to have a really good root system intact so that it is holding the soil together. I find that when the soil is moist like this, it's much easier to transplant. So I've got my container ready, and then basically I think what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to put maybe 2 of these in each container. Yeah, I think that's what I'm going to do, just because I don't have like tons of space to do all of this, and so doubling up, and then I can separate them when it's time to actually plant in my garden. These I started in the summer with the hopes of being able to buy less pansies and violas this year and save myself a little bit of money. Also, it's something fun to do during the hottest part of the summer when there's really nothing I can do on gardening wise. So that's what I do. I go ahead and pot that up, and then I'll put them all in one big container to water them. And I will go ahead and show you guys what the fish fertilizing process is once I get these potted up. I've got all of those taken care of. I'm excited, it feels better. I now have some sweet peas that need to be transplanted, and sweet peas don't actually like to be transplanted very much. But basically they've gone pretty wild. They definitely need to get out in some more sun, and they need a deeper pot to be able to build a little bit of a stronger root system. So I'm going to go about the same process using my new pots. I'm going to put probably 2 seedlings in each pot, and I think this will be really good for these for the sweet peas to kind of spread out. The two varieties I'm growing are called Mermaid Dreams and April in Paris. Both of them pretty. So let's go ahead and get these potted up. My sweet pea seedlings are getting so tall and long. I'm basically using some chopsticks, and I'm just coming in and I'm putting them on opposite ends of each other. And then I'm just using one of these inexpensive clips from the Dollar Tree. And I'm just coming in and kind of clipping everything up like this, just so these have a little bit of place to go upwards as opposed to outwards. So let me show you one more. Two, like just like that. And then I'm just bringing up the seedlings or the vines and then clipping it just like that. That'll just be easier for storage in the end. Okay, the next variety I'm going to be potting up is foxglove camelot mix. I am going to be planting one of these per container. These do act as a perennial in my area. I'm treating them currently as a hardy annual. Just go ahead and starting them. Going to plant them out in the fall, let them overwinter, and then I'll have early spring blooms. But these can turn into massive plants. So I want to go ahead and just give them their own container, allow them to create a beautiful root structure before I end up planting them. I'll probably be planting them end of October, beginning of November. Mess around with is godetia, and my seedlings have gotten really wonky. This particular variety is called Grace Salmon, and these are treated like a hardy annual, so maybe planting them out probably end of October, allowing them to overwinter and then give me a big burst of blooms at the beginning of the spring. Now I have some that are really wonky, and I don't know if I'm going to keep all of the wonky ones. I'm definitely going to be putting 2 or 3 per container. It just works better for me saving space and room. But let's go ahead and get that one knocked out too. Okay, so got that done. Now, I do want to let y'all know, for those of you who've been following along with all the seeds that I've started, I'm not going to be potting up all of them. A lot of the seedlings will just go directly into the ground, such as probably snapdragons, strawflower, I'm looking over there, bells of Ireland. A bunch of those will go directly into the ground. They won't be potted up. I do have some delphinium I want to pot up. They're not quite mature enough, but they are getting there. So maybe in about 2 weeks I'll pot those up. But yeah, everything's in good shape. So let's talk about iris rhizomes now. Okay, so next on the agenda, I did buy 2 bearded iris to add to my garden, and I did purchase some bearded iris last fall from Shriner's Iris Garden. So I've been very happy with them, and they did really beautiful, and I'm very excited for them to expand over the years. But I wanted to try something a little bit different and start with ones at a big box store. And so the first variety is called Concertina Bearded Iris. And so I'm actually not ready to put my iris directly into the ground right now. Not really sure where I want them, but I do want them to go ahead and start developing root systems, so that when it is time and I can get them planted outside, that they'll be nice and happy and ready to go. So a couple of things about purchasing an iris rhizome at a big box store. You want to make sure that it still has a little bit of green and softness to the top part of it. The bottom part, which is the actual rhizome, you want to make sure that that is nice and firm. You basically on a rhizome, let me show you a few different things about it. Each rhizome is associated with like one fan of leaves right here. And then the rhizome, and this is basically stem, like a stem that goes underneath the ground, and it stores the water and the nutrients to grow the fan and the flower. And you have the rhizome, but the rhizome is not actually the root. The root are a totally separate group of roots that come out the bottom. So you can see that with the structure of this rhizome right here, this iris, I have my rhizome, and I have my leaves, or excuse me, roots that are going to come down. Typically the rhizomes are going to lay perpendicular with the ground, and so that works really good. You wouldn't really plant it like this per se. You want your rhizome to lie nice and flat and allow the roots to work their way down. This one still has a nice softness, even has a few new leaves coming up and a few new growth points on here, which are looking really nice. So we're going to start this very simply, and then I'm going to just pot them up like I have been all the seedlings. So I'm going to start with a nice potting mix here, nice light and airy, and I'm kind of just going to make a little bit. I'm going to drop out a little bit of this, and I'm basically just going to nestle my rhizome in. You can see right here I've got it down there, and I want my rhizome to be covered, so I'm going to just come in here. I'm going to give it a little shake, but I want my leaves to extend above the level of soil, just like that, nice and simple. I'll get this moist, not like super sitting in lots of water, but nice and moist to basically trigger the roots to start growing. And truthfully, in about 2 to 3 weeks, when I'm probably about ready to start planting these out, should have a really nice, good root structure when I'm planting them out into the garden, instead of just waiting and allowing them to kind of languish in their plastic packages. This kind of gives them an opportunity to grow on a little bit and gives me a little better start when I am planting these out later this fall. So we've got the concertina, which is looking really good. The next variety I got is called Redneck Girl. And let's see what this rhizome, he looks a little bit more dry. So let's take a look. Ooh, yeah, he's a little dry. However, I can look down deep in here and still see green. So I feel good about that. The rhizome is nice and firm. I do see on the root area, and it looks like my rhizome, if I want my roots down, I have to plant it like that. So let's go ahead and start with some soil. And I'm going to plant it so that my roots are facing straight down. And then I'm going to top it with a little bit more soil, just like that. And we'll water these and allow these to go. And it'll be really fun to check back on these in a couple of weeks when I'm planting them and show you all the growth in just a short amount of time. Okay, so we're in the kitchen now, and basically what I'm going to do at this point is I'm going to go ahead and start fertilizing all of these, and I'm going to allow them a full overnight amount of time to soak up the fertilized water prior to moving all of these outside. So I will show you what these are going to look like outside tomorrow. The fertilizer I like to utilize is Alaska fish fertilizer. This is a concentrate. It smells terrible. And when I fertilize my plants inside, my whole family is like, oh, it smells so bad. So here's my method, how I go about this. And I know that everybody's gonna have their own particular way that they do this. But this is the way that I've recently taught myself so that I can cut down on how bad it smells. So I have 6 trays here, and I've got my watering can right now. And basically, I just put a nice glop of stuff in it. It smells terrible, okay? I put a nice glop in there, and I got some on the side, and we don't want to waste that, so. All right, and then I just come in here, and I turn it on so the sprayer is really intense. And I just fill this up with water, this whole container up with water with the concentrate. Now, that concentrate is enough to do all 6 of these trays. So basically, while I'm filling this container up, once this is all filled, I will divide this into 6. I'll pour a little bit of it into each one of these trays. And then after that, I will go back and just add fresh water, no additional concentrates into the trays. We'll allow them to soak up overnight, and then we'll start moving them outside so they can get situated and used to my weather. And the reason I'm choosing to move them outside tomorrow is because my temps are dropping significantly. I won't have any temps in the 90s. Most of them are going to be in the mid to lower 80s. Perfect time to start transitioning all of my fall seedlings outside. Okay, so I've got it filled up. So the easiest thing I'm going to do, and is this going to be absolutely perfectly measured? No, definitely not. Is I'm just going to go around to each one and start adding in some of the fertilized water. Just eyeballing it. Okay, and then from this point on, I'm just going to move my sprayer over and add water, fill up water on every single one of these and allow it to soak overnight. Okay, we're out here on the back porch and I've moved all the new seedlings out here. They've had lots of time to soak up water. We've got all our foxglove here. We've got our godetia here. Violas, pansies. We've got sweet pea. These are some other ones that I just tucked in. More violas, pansies, more violas and pansies. These are the lemon berry ones. These are super sweet. Lots more violas, pansies going, but yeah, it's looking really good. And I've got them all in trays so that, you know, it'll be easier for me to water. But they're looking really good, and they will be in the shade 24 hours a day for a few days first, and then I'll gradually start moving them out into the sun, which I think will work really well. Here's our iris over here. But yeah, looking really good. All right, you all, I hope you've enjoyed this video, watching me pot up tons of seedlings. Very happy with the process, really excited to see how much I've been able to grow in my small space this year. So it's feeling really, really good. So I'm pretty proud of myself. All right, you all, as always, make sure you hit that subscribe button and that notification bell so you know when my latest videos are up. And make sure you check me out on Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok. As always, she's a mad gardener or decorator or anything else that she wants to be. Thanks, y'all.